Live from Studio 46, this is CBS2 News This Morning.
Gunfire across New York City. At least 25 shootings over the weekend and more already reported this morning. One NYPD commander says the city hasn't seen an uptick like this in 20 years.
And COVID-19 cases getting under control in the tri-state area, but now there is a sharp rise in the south. The warning from officials after a record-breaking weekend. Good morning. On this Monday, June 29th, I'm Chris Wragge.
And I'm Mary Calvi. Welcome to CBS2 News This Morning. We'll have the day's top stories in just a moment, but right now, a check on your forecast. Let's turn things over to Elise.
Good morning to you, Mary, Chris, and good morning to you folks at home. So we're in for a pretty nice day. Definitely going to be a very warm one in and around the city with temperatures near 90 degrees. Right now, we're looking at temperatures that range from 60 degrees in Walden to 72 for Westbury. We have 70 for Cos-Cob and 71 for Central Park. So definitely mild in and around the city this morning as we head toward another pretty hot day. Our Skycast satellite and radar shows that things are fairly quiet for us this morning after some thunderstorms yesterday and the day before. Not a whole lot going on at the moment, but there is a chance for some pop-up shower and thunderstorm activity this afternoon. Same will be the case tomorrow, the next day, and really each day this week we'll have at least a chance to see some wet weather in the afternoon and evening. So your day part forecast goes like this. We're expecting temperatures right around 74 degrees later this morning. By noon, we're expecting temperatures in the low 80s, and we're expecting 88 degrees, a forecast high for today in the city. So mostly sunny, humid, 88 degrees with a chance for some pop-up showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. And with that, I'll send it back to you.
Elise, thank you. And now to that rising gun violence across the city, with dozens of incidents reported over the weekend and even more coming in early this morning.
CBS 2's Christina Fan joins us live from NYPD headquarters in Lower Manhattan. Christina?
Good morning, Chris and Mary. Since midnight, there have been at least 2 shootings in New York City. Over the weekend, there were at least 25, with 35 shooting victims.
Across New York City, violence is still erupting. Just this morning, police say 17-year-old Brandon Hendricks died after he was shot in the neck in the Morris Heights section of the Bronx. In Williamsburg, a man in his 40s also shot following a dispute with another man. The 2 incidents follow a grim weekend. 2 people were shot on Sunday in Brooklyn near Frost Street at a large party. One of them in critical condition after being shot in the head. Dylan Varela tells CBS2 he has lived here for close to 20 years. He says he noticed an increase in crime after a popular music venue opened in the neighborhood.
With this whole club venue thing, this brings a lot of negative activity around here because they go in there, they get drunk, they do their own thing inside there, and they come out here and cause a lot of commotion.
Hours later in Harlem, a 27-year-old man was shot in the leg. And 20 minutes after that in Queens, another 27-year-old taken to the hospital after being shot.
We haven't seen this since 1996, this many, and there's a lot of different reasons for it.
New York Police Chief of Department Terrence Monahan addressed the rise in crime on a radio show. He says there are 1,200 people indicted for guns walking the streets and another 800 who have been arrested for guns that have not been indicted because the court systems are not working. Monahan also said the death of George Floyd changed the perception of law enforcement.
It is a tough job for the police, and we're being told by community members, council members who have the loudest voice, that they don't want us interacting with people who are shooting off fireworks or drinking on the streets. The animosity towards police has just been absolutely unbelievable. And cops are, a little confused right now on what the communities want them to do, how they want their neighborhoods policed.
And so far this year, there have been more than 500 shootings in New York City. The NYPD saying that's about a 42% increase compared to last year. Reporting live from Lower Manhattan, Christina Fan, CBS 2 News.
Christina, thank you. Happening today, indoor malls in New Jersey are set to reopen. Face masks will be required and all stores will be limited to 50% capacity. Also, New York Waterway will resume modified ferry service on several routes this morning with enhanced safety measures in place. And alternate side parking regulations in the city return today with one big change. Residential streets will now only be cleaned once a week on the last day posted on street cleaning signs.
Well, ongoing tensions between police and some community members were visible early Sunday morning in Harlem. Officers responding to a possible shots fired call had bottles thrown at them. Now police are releasing cell phone video as they search for at least one suspect. CBS 2's Natalie Dudridge has more.
Police released new video and pictures of a man wanted for questioning who they believe threw a bottle at police cars, one of multiple people targeting marked police vehicles. Cell phone video shows a crowd hurling bottles and garbage at cop cars just before 4 a.m. Sunday at 133rd Street and Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. Officers were responding to ShotSpotter technology that alerts police to possible gunshots. When they arrived, they recovered shell casings and 2 fired bullets at the scene amidst a huge crowd.
It's very scary at night, and I won't even come towards my window.
Cynthia Young was relieved to see officers trying to break up a group of about 500 people in the intersection. But some kept launching objects, damaging a windshield and driver window of a cruiser. You can see the police vehicles begin to back away, leading the Police Benevolent Association to take to Twitter to call out Mayor de Blasio and City Council Speaker Corey Johnson for, quote, using a light touch and saying they should be held responsible for surrendering our city. Retired NYPD Lieutenant Darren Porcher teaches criminal justice at Pace University. He says the city needs stronger leadership.
The antidote to this very contentious situation is a back-channel negotiation between police executives, elected officials, and community leaders. If those 3 entities are not willing to coalesce by a plausible strategy, then we're consistently going to see a higher level of crime.
We spoke to one woman who was in the crowd hours before it turned violent, who said it started as an afternoon block party.
It was a peaceful gathering last night. It is something that it needs to be looked at. It's not always when we get together, it is always depicted as if we are ready to kill one another. Last night was peaceful, although some other occurrence happened.
Police say there were no injuries to officers or people, and so far there have been no arrests, but the investigation here continues. In Harlem, Natalie Duddridge, CBS 2 News.
More states are reporting record high numbers of coronavirus cases, and the trend has Governor Cuomo concerned about the potential impact on New York.
I'm now afraid of the spread coming from other states because we are one country and people travel, and I'm afraid the infection rate in the other states will come back to New York and raise that rate again.
In Florida, there were just over 8,500 new confirmed cases reported on Sunday. That followed more than 9,500 on Saturday, a single-day record. In California, bars have been ordered to close again in 7 counties. Vice President Mike Pence visited hard-hit Texas on Sunday, where the governor reported cases spiking from around 2,000 a day to around 5,000 a day over the past few weeks.
Well, for the first time since March, the St. Patrick's Cathedral opened its doors to parishioners for Sunday Mass. Cardinal Dolan welcomed the faithful and address the challenges that they have faced over the last 3 months. St. Patrick's says it will continue live streaming Mass, but people we spoke to said being there in person gave them an overwhelming sense of peace.
The first thing I did when I got into the church is tears came to my eyes.
There's a saying that, you know, like when you go into church, you can just leave all of your worries at the front door.
Delighted, absolutely delighted.
We have like a Zoom meeting every night, praying the rosary every night for all the people to take out this virus.
The sanctuary was thoroughly cleaned and disinfected before Sunday's reopening, and signs instructed everyone to wear masks. Attendance was limited to 25% capacity, but no one was turned away.
Demonstrators gathered at the American Museum of Natural History to protest the planned removal of the Teddy Roosevelt statue. Yesterday's rally was organized by the New York Young Republican Club. It also drew a counter-protest across the street of those in favor of removing the statue. Those who want the statue to stay believe it's not about racism but preserving history. Others argue it symbolizes colonial expansion and racial discrimination. The city has approved removal of the statue after the museum requested it.
Well, when you park your car, this is not how you want to find it when you return to get back in that car. This sinkhole opened up on East 2nd Street in the East Village Saturday night, nearly giving away the entirely parked car into that hole. The police say the sinkhole is about 4 feet deep. Luckily, no one was hurt, but you're definitely going to need a tow truck and a good insurance company.
Yeah, that's for sure. Coming up, Russia accused of secretly offering bounties to kill U.S. troops. What White House is saying about the president's knowledge of this.
Plus, Boeing could finally start testing its 737 MAX planes more than a year after deadly crashes forced them out of the air. Those stories and more when we come back. Hello, Weehawken. Live Mobile 2 pictures on this Monday morning. It's the 29th of June, 71 degrees out there. Let's get right to Elise Finch right now. After a great weekend, let's see what we can do to follow it up this week. Hi, Elise.
Hi, Chris. Good morning to you. And yeah, so things are looking pretty good this morning. I think we're off to a fairly good start following up this nice weekend. We did have some really hot temperatures over the weekend, especially yesterday. So I want to revisit yesterday's high temperatures. I mean, 85 for Islip and Poughkeepsie, 87 for Sussex, but 91 degrees was the high temperature yesterday in Somerville, New Jersey, 92 for Belmar, and 93 for Toms River. So definitely a hot day. We also hit 90 degrees in Central Park. So we haven't had a tremendous number of 90-plus degree days, but we had one yesterday. 91 for Teterboro and 93 for Newark, as well as LaGuardia. A little cooler. White Plains and JFK both at 86 degrees yesterday. In addition to the heat, we also had some showers and thunderstorms out there. Some of those thunderstorms were strong, even severe. So this is the Skycast radar backed up to show you some of those thunderstorms pushing through the area. You can see all of the lightning strikes associated with it. But in addition to the lightning, we also had damaging winds and hail. So lots of storm reports in association with the systems that moved through yesterday. Down trees and power lines, pea to quarter-size hail. So it was a stormy day for sure. We knew that we'd see activity over the weekend, and we certainly did. As we continue on into this afternoon, we'll have a chance to see some additional isolated thunderstorms move through the area this afternoon. And really, we have that chance each day of this work week. So today we have that isolated chance. As we head into tomorrow, it's actually a better bet. The percentages go up. So Tuesday and Wednesday really look to be the most active days in terms of widespread thunderstorm activity. So be mindful of that if you're making plans for Tuesday or Wednesday. We are going to see that pretty widespread chance. Now, we certainly need the rain. We've had a significant deficit, so we do need the rain. But again, that risk is going to linger. For today, it's not as much of an issue for us, so that is a plus. We do have definitely a hot day, 88 degrees, the forecast high for today. We do have a chance, but again, that chance goes up pretty significantly tomorrow and Wednesday. As we head into tonight, temperatures dip to about 69 degrees, so a little bit cooler tonight than it was last night. We'll see some clouds tonight, again, an isolated showers a possibility. And then your 7-day forecast shows a couple of things. One, we do have a chance for pop-up shower and thunderstorm each day this work week. Tuesday and Wednesday looking like the highest chances for widespread activity. Those 2 days also happen to be the 2 coolest days of the week with highs in the low 80s. We'll be back into the mid 80s by Thursday, and by Friday we'll be back near 90 degrees. So a hot and humid day with thunderstorm activity expected. But this weekend for the 4th of July, it actually looks pretty good. Mostly sunny and 84 degrees for the 4th of July. So not a bad 7-day forecast. With that, I'll send it back to you.
Elise, thank you. Sounds good. Okay, on our Money Watch this morning, stock futures are mixed today after big losses on the street Friday. Share prices fell after Texas and Florida were forced to backtrack on reopening their economies as coronavirus cases rose further. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 730 points, or about 2.8%. The S&P 500 was off 74. The Nasdaq dropped 259 points. Happening today, test flights of Boeing's 737 MAX airplanes could get underway after the FAA granted approval over the weekend. Now, the aircraft has been grounded since March of 2019 following 2 crashes that killed 346 people. Testing is expected to take several days, but it may be some time until the grounding is lifted. The FAA is still evaluating Boeing's proposed changes to the automated flight control system, which played a critical role in those crashes.
A historic move in Mississippi, the last state to have a Confederate symbol on its flag. Last night, state lawmakers voted to remove the stars and bars and to come up with a whole new flag design. Mississippi's governor says he'll sign the bill. The current design was adopted in 1894. There have been calls to change it for decades because many have seen it as a symbol of racism. A commission will design the new flag, and voters will be asked to approve it in the November election.
Well, overnight, President Trump tweeted that he was never told that Russia had put a bounty on American soldiers in Afghanistan because the information, quote, was incredible.
That's one of the controversies swirling around the president this morning, including strong reaction to one of his retweets over the weekend. CBS News' Nicole Killian has more.
President Trump retweeted this video Sunday morning purporting to be a protest at the Villages retirement community in Florida when one man yelled out, "White power! White power!" The retweet drew instant condemnation and charges of racism from both sides of the aisle.
There's nothing much to be said. That is inappropriate, and it should be taken down.
A few hours later, the president did.
This is really not about the president taking it down. This is about the judgment of the president in putting it up.
The White House explained in a statement President Trump is a big fan of the Villages. He did not hear the one statement made on the video. What he did see was tremendous enthusiasm from his many supporters. The incident comes as racial tensions flare around the country following the death of George Floyd, giving rise to the Black Lives Matter movement.
So you won't say Black Lives Matter?
John, I really believe that all lives matter.
The Trump administration is also pushing back on a report by the New York Times. It cites intelligence that Russia secretly offered bounties to Afghan militants to kill U.S. troops. The president tweeted, "Nobody briefed or told me, VP Pence, or Chief of Staff Mark Meadows about the so-called attacks on our troops in Afghanistan by Russians. Everybody is denying it, and there have not been many attacks on us."
To me, it looks like just another day at the office in the Trump White House. I've never recalled a circumstance where the president himself goes out of his way to say he wasn't briefed on something.
Former National Security Advisor John Bolton said the U.S. should consider severe measures if proven. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi demanded a report to Congress.
This is as bad as it gets. And yet the president will not confront the Russians on this score, denies being briefed. Whether he is or not, his administration knows.
The director of national intelligence also confirmed the president and vice president were never briefed. Russia and the Taliban have denied the reports. Nicole Killian, CBS News, the White House.
Well, the New England Patriots have signed former NFL MVP Cam Newton to replace Tom Brady, who is now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Newton entered the league in 2011 and has spent his entire career with the Carolina Panthers, led him to a Super Bowl a few years back. Big question is whether he'll remain healthy. He's been plagued with injuries for the last few seasons. The 31-year-old Newton comes to the Patriots at what could be considered a bargain price. He signed an incentive-laden one-year deal that could be worth up to $7.5 million.
And up next, the return of the road trip. More Americans are expected to travel by vehicle this summer.
And they're not just in cars. What you need to know before you hit the road in a brand new RV. That story's coming up next.
Live look for you on this Monday morning. It is June 29th. We've got temperatures in the 70s right now. We're going to get you a check on the forecast into the holiday weekend in just a moment. Last night, this short fireworks display over the Hudson River celebrated NYC Pride 2020. The 5-minute-long display began around 9:30 and lit up the sky over the Hudson near Lower Manhattan. Spectators were encouraged to follow social distancing guidelines.
I think come the end of this year, people are going to be like, all right, let's put a pause on fireworks. So, it's been too many fireworks this year. Both the big ones and the not so big ones. Let's get to your forecast right now. Let's bring Elise Finch in. Hi, Elise. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Chris. Yeah, I think you're right. I think after the 4th of July, a lot of people are going to be like, okay, enough with the fireworks. But at least the really, really good ones are coming on the 4th of July, not the ones that are a nuisance, the ones that are a beauty. For today, I think today is fairly beautiful out there. We'll see temperatures in the 80s pretty much across the board, but close to 90 degrees for New York City and toward Trenton with temperatures right at 88. So mostly sunny, a little bit humid, definitely very warm for some locations. Over the next couple of days, though, a couple of things happen. We watch temperatures take a bit of a dip, so we are going to see some cooler temperatures as we head into your Tuesday and Wednesday. But the thing that will go up is our chances for a pop-up shower and thunderstorm activity as we head into the afternoon. So today, mostly sunny, humid, 88 degrees with just an isolated chance for pop-up showers and thunderstorms this afternoon, so we're at about a 20% chance. That goes up to 40% for both Tuesday and Wednesday, so we are expecting some more widespread afternoon activity. And with that, I'll send it back to you.
Okay, Elise, thank you. Well, summer travel is going to look a lot different this year. It's likely going to be closer to home for some, but from some others, how about hitting the road in a beautiful new RV? Those trips are seeing a spike in popularity.
But before you go, you need to be prepared. CBS News' Dana Tyler reports.
The good old open road is calling once again. As parts of the country reopen and Americans itch to escape isolation, road trips seem to be top of mind.
I think as people look to have more control over their travels this summer, road tripping is an incredible opportunity. I think in the past, people have seen road trips as absolute freedom. This year, I feel like it's providing people with the opposite opportunity in that they can control what they're traveling in, how clean it is, who they're with, where they're stopping.
Meredith Carey with Condé Nast Travelers says 42% of their readers would drive up to 6 hours from home for a road trip. The RV Industry Association says 46 million Americans plan to take an RV trip within the next 12 months. It's no surprise given the control you'll have over your surroundings, your safety, and your health. So, what should you know before you go?
You're going to need to be doing a lot more planning this year than you would have in the past because of those restrictions and added quarantines in Maine, New Mexico, even New York, depending on where you're coming from.
Carey recommends mapping your route in advance. That way you can familiarize yourself with each state's regulations, rest stops, and restrooms. If you're unsure where you can go, AAA has a COVID-19 travel restrictions map online. Condé Nast Traveler also has a list of the best road trip spots in America. But make sure prioritizing your safety comes first. Dana Tyler, CBS 2 News.
So RVs, we're told, are divided into 3 classes, and experts recommend first-time RV renters. You might want to limit yourself to the B and C classes because they're smaller and they're easier to maneuver rather than those moving hotels. I
love how you said at the top that we're told. Come on, you knew that. Reminds me of one of my favorite all-time movies around the house. Clark, that there's an RV.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You know what? It's a great alternative, though. And if you can find the right spots, you can wake up in the morning, open up those doors, and be like, wow, best view in the world. If that's what you like.
Still ahead, New York City neighborhoods on edge as shooting calls rise to their highest levels in decades.
And with no Pride Parade this year, people came out to march for unity instead, but the demonstrations turned into a clash between police and protesters. You're watching CBS 2 News this morning. We'll be right back.